Welcome back, my gentle people. This is Corner Stories with your daily serving of relationship stories. So let's get into it. AITA for giving my stepson a 20-minute time limit to return my car before I phone the police? I am a 34F doctor, and part of my job entails being on call for 1 to 3 nights a week, twice a month. My fiancé Dale 30M has been saving with my stepson's mom to buy him a car for Christmas. My stepson Rex 16M has a license already but always has to borrow his mom's station wagon or his dad's beat-up pickup truck. His mom's car is lame and embarrassing, and his dad's can only hold 1 passenger. Not practical for a teen. On to the main conflict. Rex texted me yesterday around 12 if he could borrow my car after school. His friends wanted to go to the mall but the bus route is too long. Could they borrow my car? I texted back a sorry but no, I am on call again. Can you ask your mom? He says no. I told him sorry but my answer is still no. I'm sure you will find a solution. Ask your friends and you can all figure it out. If you see where this is going, you are less shocked than I am. I was up in my home office, the room where I keep my switch, sewing machine, and laptop, so not an official office, when I heard Rex and his friends downstairs after school. I was going to see if they needed anything but they left after a few minutes. An hour later, I went to the kitchen, cleaning up the empty bottles and wrappers from their snacks. I saw the spot where I left my keys empty. I began to panic. First I bolted to the door. My car was gone. Immediately dialed my stepson. He picks up and it's obvious he's in a mall store that plays loud music. I told him to get his ass home now, and he laughed and said that I am not his mom. He'll be home whenever he pleases. I'm not proud but I told him that he has 20 minutes to get home or I call the police and report it stolen. Rex panics and said he couldn't find all his friends and drive home in 20 minutes. Told him tough shit. 10 minutes later I get a text that he is in the mall parking lot and will be home soon. I phoned Rex's mom and informed her of his stunt. She was madder than me when I told her that I was on call. She apologized and promised to talk with Rex and Dale ASAP. Rex came in, threw me my keys, locked himself in his room. Dale finally came home around 8 and said he had been on the phone with his ex. He demanded to know why I punished his son. I put my foot down and explained I am on call, that means I need my car. Rex stole my car. Dale disagrees. His ex agrees with me and decided she will not be buying Rex a car anytime soon due to his entitlement. Dale thinks that I am making a big deal out of nothing. I didn't end up going into work, so why did I have to threaten Rex? I have only gone in twice this year while on call. Just because nothing happens doesn't mean that I am always clear. Rex is now grounded. Fiancé barely speaks to me. Asks me when I'm going in today, I'm not, and if I will apologize. I am not budging and am still pissed he doesn't get it. AITA? Editing because it came up in the comments. Dale is 30 not 29, but yes, he was 14 when Rex was born. Don't get hung up on this, it isn't about teen parents. Rex's mom was 15 when they had him and is the best mom if you ask me. She's who introduced me to Dale. Edit 2, now I can see why my friend told me this sub can be a little much. I am very thankful for these responses, but I think I am going to leave the comments now and have a very frank discussion with Dale tonight. Rex is with his mom so he won't be in the middle or get involved. Kid still wouldn't look at me and called me a bitch who won't let him get his own car now. Some comments from Op, you think I could have ruined my stepson's life? I could have lost my job because of his selfish actions. If I am on call and don't respond then someone might die. Rex's self-centered attitude could have caused way more harm than he realizes. He thinks that I have it easy sitting around waiting for work to call me in. It is not easy. I am constantly glued to my phone to make sure that I don't miss a call. I cannot relax on these days. I am not off or on vacation. I have to be ready to drop everything, change into my scrubs, and be out of the house within minutes. So when I noticed that my car was missing, I could do absolutely nothing. In my head, I was jobless with an oncoming lawsuit. You think this was just a teenage rebellious stunt? It was Rex being an entitled little prick. And you defend his actions probably because you are his age and don't understand real fucking life experience. So your comments are nothing but useless garbage to me. Go bother someone else. 14, just realized I put down the wrong age. Update. So apparently, Dale reads through this subreddit on his work breaks. He texted me a link to my post during his dinner break. A short time later I first received a call from Rex's mom, who said that Dale called her and ranted about how I made him look bad online. She told him that she didn't give a fuck, because he did not react the way a good parent should. Dale was so furious that he told her that he would be calling his mother to see if someone actually cared about his feelings. Dale's mother handed his ass back to him good. And reiterated to Dale that he was not an active part in his son's life until he was 6, so he has no leg to stand on. Dale tried to bitch about how everyone was being unfair to him. She shut him up and told him that his son did something wrong and this is not about punishing him for being a bad father. Dale returned home a little while ago, about an hour earlier than he usually does. He looked defeated but he was still short with me. Said he was disappointed that I posted and now everyone who knows will think he's a joke and a bad father. I didn't think this conversation would end up with my ending the engagement and relationship, but it did. The house is all in my name, so Dale is packing up his shit and crawling back to his mom's house. The wedding wasn't set so no money or time lost there. Dale said so many things that I don't even want to write down. This is not the man who I have known for 4 years and I am honestly shocked at how selfish he is. He said my doctor money would have to buy Rex a car to make up for all of the hard feelings. I am astonished at how delusional he is. I am done with this account and will not be returning. Edit to add that also, the fact he wasn't in Rex's life till age 6 was a huge red flag to me. He never mentioned it and refused to admit it was a big deal during the argument we had when he came home. Relevant comments. The comment about doctor money makes me think that it isn't just the son that's entitled. I think Dale was digging for gold, if you know what I mean. But wow, this guy's behavior is immature. He's basically teaching his kid that disrespecting other people's property and ignoring their requests is totally okay as long as he gets what he wants. This man has to start living in the real world where there are real consequences to your actions. It's also funny that this dude got chewed out by everyone and still can't admit that he's wrong. Comment 2. It's crazy to me that anyone could be defending the kid or the dad. Like, do people not understand she is a doctor and people could die if she can't get to work? If the son and his friends wanted to go to the mall so bad, they could take an Uber. In some places they could take public transport, they could ask someone's parents for a ride, but literally stealing a car? And then getting embarrassed for it? And people are defending that? Comment 3. What's wild to me is not only the fact that people were downplaying that she's an on-call doctor and might need to save someone's life, but also that no one considering that the son probably wasn't on the doctor's car insurance. She might have been in big trouble if the son and his friends got pulled over or in an accident in her car. Story 2. Let me start with the backstory. I met my wife 14 years ago while she was going through a messy divorce. 6 months after that her divorce was final and I met her son, now 27, and daughter. I have no kids of my own, and never thought I liked kids in general, but her kids became the exception and I do not think I could care more about them if they were my own. They have different fathers, and both of them were physically and emotionally abusive to the children and my wife. None of us have had any contact with either of their fathers for almost 10 years. My SS is married to a great girl with 2 kids of their own and I am incredibly proud of him, and we talk often. My SD, I'm very proud of her as well, but she has had a few more problems arise. She is still my favorite girl, and I would move heaven and hell for her. But she tends to choose men more like her father, cowardly, weak man-child. I was always there for her, and we could talk about anything, and other than her choice in men, our personalities were very similar. So 4 months ago, after breaking up with the latest asshat, she moved back in with us. A month after that we found out she was pregnant. She is now 5 months pregnant. I work from home and my wife does not. This means my SD spends a lot of time with me and I also drive her to doctor appointments and maternity clothes shopping. Which is what we were doing today. I drove her to Bye Bye Baby, we did some baby and new mother shopping. On the way home she talked to me about the crappy texts asshat had sent her over the weekend. Saying how she would be a horrible mother, and how his baby would be better off if she did herself in etc etc, and yes, I've decided he and I need to have a conversation, much like the conversation I had with my SD's father 10 years ago. When we got home, we sat in the driveway as I comforted her, gave her lots of positive affirmation, and told her how useless asshat was. Next thing I know she tells me that she wishes the baby was mine and hers and she kisses me on the lips. WTF. I pulled away and mumbled something about not ruining a good thing, how I love her mom. I made a bad joke about being with a pretty woman in her 20s would probably kill me. For the next 2 hours I was basically on autopilot, put stuff away, made dinner for the 3 of us after my wife got home. I have been in my den for the last 4 hours claiming I was working, but I have no friggin' clue what to do. What should I tell my wife? What should I say to my SD? Should I say anything to either of them? Should I just finish off this bottle of Captain Morgan and pass out? Look, this isn't something I can go to a friend or relative about, so I'm coming here. I need some thoughts here, people. TLDR, pregnant SD that I have known since she was 11 made a pass at me and wishes I was her baby's daddy. I rejected her, but now what do I do? I'm hiding out in my den, wondering what to say to my wife and SD. Help please, I will be passing out soon, but I will read any ideas you all may have. Comments. Many comments advised OOP to tell his wife because she would find out anyways and be hurt that he didn't tell her. Stepdaughter might tell his wife a lie before he told her the truth. More than one comment speculated about what his stepdaughter is going through. This comment. Professionals of psychological disciplines call this transference. You're the one man she's ever had in her life who loves and cares about her in a positive way. To her, that treatment seems unique to you, as in, she hasn't processed that she can be treated that well by someone else. She's also confusing her own love for you with sexual romantic love, which makes me wonder if her biological father or previous stepfathers sexually abused her. My advice is to get her into therapy. Get yourself some therapy too, because while you did reject her advances, good, the way you did it validated the possibility of a sexual relationship between you two under different circumstances, not so good. You need to have her centered in your head as your daughter, step or otherwise, not as a sexually available woman. I am in no way accusing you of fantasizing about her or thinking about her that way prior to this. All I'm saying is that your knee-jerk response was more in line with a random woman her age and less in line with a parental relationship. But reassure her that you will always be here for her and your grandkid, because one thing that pregnancy hormones do is trigger the good dad spidey senses, and she's probably anxious about raising her kid in a world full of men who use and abuse her. OP's response to the comment. Thank you. This makes sense to me. She was in therapy as a preteen because of her father, so I know she is not averse to it. We are a family that has been abused in one form or another in our youths. One of the reasons I was hypersensitive to it when I met my wife and her kids, used to think about Law and Order and how the abused always become abusers. I hate that show, caused me years of paranoia and way too much introspection, and you're right, I should have been more direct verbally with her at the time. And in reply to another such comment, yes, this is some of what I have been thinking. Maybe I have been too close to her, doing things the father of the baby should be doing. Is this my fault? Should I have been stricter, or more reserved? I remember her as a teenager telling me how lucky her mom was to meet the only good man around, and how she hoped one day to meet someone just like me. Should I have shut that kind of talk down? It made me feel good that I was considered by those I love as a good man. I wasn't a good young man, and so when her mom opened her family to me, I felt blessed. But I have read the horror stories about stepparents being evil as well as false allegations, and so I am terrified that everything will end. My own karma from my past will take away that which I cherish. I know I have to talk to my wife and SD, I know it won't just go away. But I fear losing what I have. Update. Comment update. It has been a couple days since my post, and this is what has gone down. I received a lot of good advice, and my initial reaction, rug sweep, and hope, I saw was not the right way to go. That was based on fear, and once I recognized my cowardice, I was able to see what was the right thing to do. To me, the question was, do I talk first with my SD or my wife? A lot of people said go directly to my wife before my SD could change the story, and I understand the reasoning. But once I started thinking and not just feeling and reacting, I couldn't do that. My SD deserved to be heard. I have loved her like a daughter for almost 15 years, and she has always been a young woman deserving of my respect, except for her choices of BFs. At first she blamed hormones, but I just raised my eyebrows like, really, you're going there? But after a minute she finally told the truth, I think. She told me she had been in love with me since she was a teenager, and it was the reason she left home after graduating HS. She thought she had gotten over me, but every time she came home to visit, she moved a few states away, she would realize how terrible her BFs were and how she still loved me. Around 6 months ago she came to visit us for a week and brought the future baby daddy with her. I hated him. He was obviously doing hard drugs, and was making a career from gaming. And by career I mean sponging off others at the age of 30 while popping pills and snorting H. She left here and dumped him about a month after that. At this point in her narrative, I was understanding her problem, unrequited love, forbidden desires, etc., and I do think she embellished some of the problems. I told her that it didn't mean she should go for it with me. When she came back she saw that my wife and I had started sleeping in separate rooms. I'm a restless sleeper and wake when a pin drops and she snores really loud. When we found out about the baby, we planned to use the room I was using as a nursery, and I would move back into the bedroom. She thought that her chance to be with me was ending and decided that day to make her move. And in her effed up thinking, she thought I would move into her room instead of my wife's and we would just all of us live together. She knew the second I pulled away from her that she was wrong and that she effed up. She told me how sorry she was, and let's just say she convinced me she felt bad. I told her I was going to talk to her mother, but she needed to know this could never happen again. What she wanted would destroy everyone I care about, and that included her, and I will not let that happen. When my wife came home, I let her know we needed to talk together, with me telling her what happened. She knew something was up since she didn't see either of us that night, but she figured my SD and I had an argument or we just needed some space. Not uncommon for either of us. For a minute she just stared at me and then said she would have expected this 10 years ago, but thought daughter had grown the EFF up by this time. I was flabbergasted. What are you talking about? I asked, and she had told me that SD had a crush on me back then. I told her that was crazy. She claimed it was obvious, and I have always been oblivious to how women flirt with me. She is nuts. People are just nice around me. She told me we should have a talk with daughter together, but first she wants to talk alone with her. About an hour later my wife asked me to join them. And I did, and the following is what was decided. My daughter will be going to therapy. I am still allowed in the birthing room. SD is fully clothed in common areas of the house, i.e. no more skimpy shorts, or just a bra for a top, no pointing out to me how her breasts are getting bigger. By the way, I didn't know that was a flirting thing. I just thought she was sharing pregnancy information. My wife could be right about me being oblivious, and my wife trusts me to inform her if SD gets out of line. If SD F's up again, she will be staying with her brother, and we will be telling him why. So that's it. Thank you to so many that gave good advice. Relevant comments. I guess when you truly look at someone as your child, you don't think they could ever make passes at you. I understand on one hand how people can say come on man, but on the other hand, it seems like he never read those as anything more BC. He always looked at her as his child. Even the way he handled it showed fatherly tact. He talked to SD first and then immediately told his wife. He wanted SD to feel comfortable telling him things, but reinforced that her mother should know. I do think the wife should have mentioned the flirting to OOP 10 years ago when it happened. It's weird that she knew her kid had a crush and didn't say anything about it and let her go on and make passes. That's odd to me. I would hope the wife would have had conversations with SD on being appropriate and maybe dealing with her feelings in a more healthy way back then. Comment 2. Just watch, I will get him back, and all of you will be sucking at a number of reasons why someone might miss someone else flirting with them. I'm a high-functioning autistic and I never notice anything subtle whatsoever. I would think like OP and believe people are just being nice to me. One time when getting a suit with my wifey, she told me after we left that the female server had been eyeing me and flirting, and so my wifey had been giving her the back off, he is mine look. I honestly hadn't noticed. Comment 3. When I was much younger, I had super low self-esteem from years of non-stop bullying and harassment. Apparently I was flirted with quite a bit. I didn't see it as flirting, because I didn't understand why anyone would be into me. So I just assumed it was people being nice. Later, once I had developed better self-esteem, I could tell that people were flirting with me. However, I was too awkward and uncomfortable to acknowledge it. Mood changer. My family likes to complain about everything to the point of stressing me out. Cue petty compliance. So for years now I have lived with my family. I am a grown adult, however, I stayed to help my grandparents with bills since my mom and uncle don't. The entire time I have been here though, my grandmother, my uncle, and my mother do nothing but complain about me. My mom not so much as my uncle and my grandmother, but still she has a habit of repeating what they tell her. At first it started with I don't do enough chores. Okay cool, I'll just start doing more chores. Then it was when I cook I need to cook for everyone else. Okay fine, whenever I cook I'll cook for everyone else too, it'll be in the kitchen if you want it. I'm pretty sure you can imagine where all of this kept going. Then all of a sudden it was why don't you cook anything we like? You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you fill up the garbage can too much. I put 1, maybe 2, 13-gallon bags in and it can hold 5 to 6 of them. You do nothing to help with the animals, they aren't mine, and they even made me get rid of mine because I wouldn't let them play with their animals. They feed their animals unhealthy scraps, including candy, even after the vet said not to, and I had caught them feeding my animals the same stuff. They couldn't respect my boundaries, so I rehomed them. They are happy and well taken care of. It then devolved to we don't want you using specific silverware and plates and pots and pans, and I had enough. I bought my own silverware, I bought my own pots and pans, and I have my own plates and bowls now. I keep all of it in my room along with a microwave. I almost never use the stove anymore. This week I got my own garbage can for our address and I told them they are not allowed to put anything in it, otherwise I'll be at them the same way they do to me. They're not happy of course, because they're like, well, we fill up those 2 cans that we have already. And I told them, too bad, this one's mine, so now you don't have to worry about me filling it up since I'm the one you blame it on all the time. Since I have my own silverware, plates, bowls and cookware now, I use all of that stuff, wash it and return it to my room, and I don't touch a single plate that they touched. They're running out of things to be at me about now, and it's hilarious. I realize I'm being an A, and I do realize I am so petty, but I've been putting up with this since I was old enough to understand what they were doing, so since I was 12 years old, well over a decade at this point. Thanks to COVID I can't move out, I can't really afford to, and my grandfather has already told me he can't afford for me to leave either because I help him. He's just as trapped as I am and I'm doing my best to help him, but eventually I know I'm probably going to say screw it, I'm out. I'll hate it when that day comes because I don't want to leave him here with them, but for my own mental health I can't take it anymore. Thank you all to those who read this rant. Frankly, I just really needed to let off steam, lol. And that is the end of the story. That's it guys, this is where I will leave you. I hope you enjoyed the stories I had for you. I certainly enjoyed them. Please be sure to drop a like or a comment, and it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and I will see you. Corner Stories signing off.